I'm going to demonstrate a couple of different methods on how to transfer your design onto your piece of wood so you can burn it. This is a pretty straightforward video, but let me know if you have any questions about anything in the comments below as I'm going. And of course, always feel free to reach out to me on social media, especially Instagram, because I'm always on Instagram. First of all, I have a couple of different products here. These are all referred to as transfer paper. The blue, green, red, and white are technically called carbon paper. And this piece here, it is actually a sheet, but I ripped it in half. This is graphite paper. They all do the same thing. They're just technically different. Carbon paper versus graphite paper. The carbon is more of like a wax residue on one side, and this one is graphite, so it's like your pencil lead transferring onto the wood. First things first, you need to have your design, all right? Just a little trick, a little tip. Whenever you go to print your design, turn the opacity or the transparency, whatever it's called on your computer, turn it down so you don't use nearly as much black ink. I printed mine at like 40% grayscale, so I don't use nearly as much ink. So you're gonna want to tape it down on one edge wherever you want your design. I need to be able to flip up and down, so don't tape it down on all four sides. You need to be able to slide your transfer paper underneath it. Another thing is you need to watch where your hand rests. These papers, they're transfer papers, and they do exactly what it sounds like they do. They are really good at transferring. So any pressure that you put down is going to transfer onto the wood. Like if you have a watch band or, maybe your ring, like it is really good, and it just takes a little bit of pressure to transfer the material onto the wood, and then this can be a pain in the butt to sand or erase off because it does not erase very easily. I'm going to take my graphite paper, so this is basically just black, and it has a dull side and a shiny side. The shiny side has the graphite, which is going to transfer, and the dull side has nothing. You want to slide it underneath your design. This can move. Your design should not move. If your design comes untaped, it can be really difficult to line it exactly back up where it was to make sure that your design lines up with where you left off. This can move. Your design should not move. I'm actually going to flip it upside down because I don't want the pressure of my hand to transfer in any of the white area of the wood. And I am using a pink pen so I can see where I've been. You really are just outlining everything that you want to burn. So for me, I want to burn the outline of my mushroom. I'm gonna stop here, remove it, and flip it up. And that's what it looks like so far. I am going to switch to the red, and I'm gonna do the dots in the mushroom cap, okay? Okay. So that's what that looks like. Let's do the white. And the white is actually kind of hard to tell which side. I think this side has the stuff. Let me just double check. Yeah, okay. You see that? So let's do the stem of this mushroom. Line it up, press it down. So the white paper is not the best for people who can't see very well. So if you have a hard time seeing color, or I don't know, maybe your vision just in general is not great, the white is not the best. But it is really good on darker wood like walnut. If you use this on a piece of walnut, the design shows right up, and it's really great. But for people who might not be able to see that, there's just not a lot of contrast between the white and the wood. Let me do the green. Okay, let's do the outline So that's the green. I do have yellow. It's bright yellow, like banana yellow, but I don't have a piece with me. I don't know where it is currently, but it came in the set of the other colors. And then I also have solid black. So the graphite that we did looks black, but it is technically a gray. The set that I got with the colored stuff came with a pure white and a pure black. The pure black shows up the best, in my opinion, but because it's this waxy residue and not the graphite, it doesn't sand off or erase nearly as well. Okay, now I'm going to use the blue. Can you even tell that that's blue? The spots I'm going to do here, I'm going to do differently. You can just use a normal pencil and scribble graphite on the back side of whatever you want transferred. So in this case, I'm going to be transferring these outlines of the dots. So I'm just scribbling graphite all on the back side. And then this is basically acting as your transfer paper because you're putting this graphite on the side of the underside of the paper, and then I'm going to transfer it by outlining it. I'm going to now go and outline all of my little dots. Okay, and there we go. So you can see here that I either had moved my design, like maybe I moved it, and that dot didn't quite line up, but I'm not too worried about it because I'm going to be burning in all of the underside, like gills of the mushroom, and that's gonna just get covered up, so I'm not too worried about it. So those are two methods for getting your design onto the wood using a couple of different products. Now, the one thing that I want to say about the red and the green, the colored ones specifically, they will bleed. If I were to go wood burn over, my design here, the red will bleed into the wood and kind of leave like an overburn red halo on either side of your wood burned line. So that is not great, especially if you're burning on a light colored wood. If you were burning on like a darker walnut, like this, per se, it might not be nearly as visible. The other thing is if you're going to paint or add color to your wood burning, then it doesn't super matter if it bleeds because it'll probably just get covered up, but that depends on what color media you're using. If you're just using like very light watercolors or you're just adding a little bit of colored pencil, it's probably not going to be enough to color up the bleed of this waxy residue. Maybe on a darker wood like walnut, but I still wouldn't count on it. The best way to get it out is once you have wood burned everything and you're done, is to get a magic eraser and just get like, I don't use the full magic eraser. I usually rip them in half and then rip that. So I guess rip it in quarters because I just use a little piece of the sponge to kind of go along on my wood burning and scrub it out. But the caveat with that is that the whatever the cleaning agent is in a magic eraser will leave residue in your wood burn lines. So you then have to deal with that. But at least it got the bleeding halo out of the wood from this. So like there really isn't a perfect solution here other than to just not use colored transfer paper. This should be ready to go. Whatever nib you're going to use, whatever wood burner you're using, you just wood burn right over that design. And like I said, if you have any problems with it bleeding or there being like a residue around your wood burn lines, you can always go get a magic eraser. I mean, not everybody has those, but they are a couple dollars at the store next time you go to the grocery store. Or you can also use, like a scrap piece of sandpaper or something if you have any of that laying around and kind of gently try to sand it out. But I have had instances in the past where that has actually made it worse because you're kind of spreading the red into the rest of the wood until it sands out. So like that can be kind of tricky. But anyway, let me know if you have any comments, drop them below, any questions, and feel free to always DM me or reach out to me on Facebook or Instagram at It's David and Renee. I'm going to link the carbon papers and the graphite paper that I personally bought and have. And then I'm going to link the magic erasers that I like too in the description of this video. All right, I hope that was helpful for you. Bye.